Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to Apex Online Racing Season 17. This is round 4 at the wonderful Zolder circuit, so be prepared for some big old curb action this evening. And I am not alone in the comms box this evening. I finally have a co-commentator and one of our very own community members. If you feel like introducing yourself.
Yeah, hello team, hello spectators. I'm really glad to be here. My name is Martins Bertelis, or in English, Martins Bertelis. And yeah, I'm also driving in the Apex Online Racing. And yeah, once again, really glad to be here to help you with the commentary. And yeah, we'll try to speak as much as I can also with the people from the chat. So be active there.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, absolute pleasure to have you with here, Martin. So our first car out on circuit at the moment is Hoggy, who was doing very well in qualification in first practice. So now in the qualifying session, he is going to be the driver to set the benchmark. Let's jump on board, hopefully. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the one we want. So riding on the dashboard of the Ferrari as we speak, down towards turn 1. Quite a late apex and running all the way out to the outside edge over that painted curb, trying to maintain the traction. Luckily, it's nice and dry here this time round. No horrible wetness for anybody tonight. It should hopefully be dry the whole way through. And flat on the throttle all the way out now towards this deceptive corner of turn 3. Throws it in, a little bit of inside curb. All the exit curb we can possibly use. And now this is where the madness is going to happen, and you probably have a fair bit of experience with practicing here, Martin. These curbs are formidable in the first chicane, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure, and especially in the Ferrari. So I'm really feeling poggy. So I'm driving also Ferrari 296. It's much better than the old version of the Ferrari 488, but still, it's of course lacking the responsiveness of the curbs compared to the Mustang, for example, Bentley, or any other big cars.
Yeah, I seem to remember the Mercedes always used to be the go-to car for this circuit because you could pretty much just straight line over the curbs. But really not that many Mercedes in the Tier 1 Championship this time round. There's a few. There's Lawrence and Crows I can see currently running the Mercedes, but I know there's one or two of them. But right, this is going to be the benchmark. Let's have a little look as they come across the line. So still another 12 minutes of qualifying left to go, but our benchmark is a 1:28.330. So have to see how it goes. It's already been dethroned immediately by Michael Thomas. So there's some big old runs going on already, and Nashville as well. And in fact, there's two of the, as you were saying, the bigger cars. The Aston Martin already finds itself up in the front row.
Yeah, I think the tires are still not in the, let's say, the optimum temperature, and also the brakes. So it will take some time, because I would expect from these guys to do low 27. So 27.1, 27.2 maybe, but let's see. So I think we are missing some half of the second right now from the best time. But yeah, as I said, so it's only the first flying lap, so the guys need to warm up the tires and also to get the brakes working properly. So yeah, and it's of course for Tier 1, I don't think that's that much stress as the drivers have in the lowest tiers, but still, when it's qualification, still for the first laps, you need to get, let's say, the good, decent lap, and then you can try to get the thousands and the hundreds of the seconds, especially in the curb, what you already mentioned, because as I saw some walkthroughs in this track, and then one of the comments was that you can do a very good sector 1 in sector 3, but if you miss the curbs, that big chicane, then you don't have a good lap. And vice versa, basically. With a good chicane, you can gain a lot of time. So I think the guys will firstly try to get the good time in, and then we'll try to risk it over the chicane to gain even more time. But yeah, we can see that it's already 22.2. Okay, the high 2, but still posted in. So yeah, the times are going down.
Definitely starting to squeeze those times in as well, and seeing some different cars slowly making their way up through. So at the moment it's Michael Thomas in pole position, Giardier in second, Ranieri in third, and Remy Papin, who we are keeping a little eye on at the moment in the Bentley, running in 4th place, seeing a bit of love in the chat as well for Papin. We've got Papin's, Broken, Bradley Papin, Podens, and Yorkie getting a big shout out from Andrex UK, which is fantastic. Oh, there we go. And actually, Papin has just abandoned that lap. So let's try and find, you know what, let's get Matt York up on the screen for York Sport Racing. Oh, and in the back of the shop there, we just saw one of the Mustangs going very, very skittish as it went over the curbs. Sorry, one of the Mercedes going very skittish over the curbs. Come on, cameras. There we go. Absolutely lovely livery on this car as well. Obviously custom liveries, as we were discussing pre-stream actually, about all the custom liveries that people put in. Absolutely fantastic to see. And also obviously we have the custom BOP, the balance of performance, meaning that you do get this mix of cars. You can have the Bentley, a very old car, in this game, still being able to be competitive up here with something as new as the brand new Mustang. Obviously we've got a Nissan GTR as well that is somehow competitive, and it's really great to see obviously this complete mix of vehicles that is now able sort of, you know, to mix it up. It's like you were saying with the new Ferrari as well, that car, you know, very good. Oh, big improvement for Matt York, 10 places improved up into 13th place. Just trying to see if there's anyone who was on a big lap compared to everyone else around them. Who have we got this going? I think someone we do need to keep an eye on. Aidan Walsingham, the championship current leader, all the way down in 17th place at the moment and not making huge improvements. I do worry if maybe he did listen to some of the things that were going on in the Tier 1 chat when he was asking if anyone had a setup, and there was a big jump through the chicane. Goodness gracious. That was absolutely flying through the air. You're not going to go fast if you haven't got tyres on the floor, it has to be said.
Yeah, but it's still plenty of time left. It's 7 minutes and 40 seconds right now. So as the best drivers, as we saw, is driving below 1 minute and 30 seconds. So basically we have five laps left. So that's still quite a tough opportunity. And yeah, you switched to away from the Remy Papin, and I think he did just the same was I was expected and said. So basically he has already his safe lap in with a good time, and then he tried to squeeze the chicane and drive as fast as he can there. He missed it, and then he went back to the pits because most probably his fuel was set only for 2 or 3 laps. Because in this level, each 100 and also of the seconds count, and each liter in the car is of course more weight to carry. So I think those guys, in the difference of the tiers, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, the guys are just putting 25 liters and driving for 15 minutes in a row. So I think these guys mostly are splitting, let's say, the qualification in the parts. So to have the best tires, to have the small amount of fuel as it could be. So yeah, so I think that's interesting. And you mentioned BOP, so maybe I could fastly run through it. So basically, in the Zolder, we have a Mustang that is has the most weight in. So Mustang is carrying 22 more kilograms than usual. Then the BMW M4, 14 kilograms. A Mercedes 12, a McLaren GT3 Evo 6, Lamborghini Huracan 3, and then Honda is having 3 kilograms less, Audi -4, Ferrari 296 also -4, then Porsche and Nissan is having -8 and -9, and Bentley -13, and Aston -16. So not that big of a difference comparing to the other tracks, I would say, because there is, let's say, the bigger pluses, and also for the, let's say, slower cars, it's -14 something sometimes, but this time it's, yeah, for the, let's say, worst car in this track, it's only -16, and that's for the Aston.
Yeah, that's not too bad, and it is, as you were saying earlier on, this circuit does suit those bigger, sort of safer cars rather than the mid-engine sort of skittish cars. So luckily, although they are carrying a bit more, as you're saying, a bit more weight, it's not horrendously massive. We were just on board with Alcilin there, who was on a big improvement but is staying where he was. I'm not sure whether maybe that was a case of he maybe invalidated the lap. Walter Billen is on a big improvement, running in 21st place at the moment, coming through the final chicane. Trying to get that Mustang to grip up and fly towards the line. What can he do? He's in 21st place as he comes towards the line. And stays in 21st place. So I'm not sure if that was invalidated. It must have been if he was on big improvement. Jump on board with Kaz Lucas. We were saying about one of the BMWs. Here we go for Roa Racing. And in fact, while they're just out lapping, let's have a quick run through the top 10 in the championship as it stands. So Aidan Walsingham running in first place with 288 points. Giardier just behind with 253 points, so only 35 points between them. There is nothing there. Naldi in third place with 216. Remy Papin, 150. Josh Waring at 132 points. Michael Thomas, 108. Ranieri, 107. 8th place is Walter Billen with 102. Joe Dorber, 88 points. And Levchenko with 86 points. So a bit of a gap there as it opens up. But the sort of the top three, all within the 200s, and it is all still very much to play for. In fact, speaking of Naldi, let's see if we can find him on the screen. He should be hiding somewhere. Trying to see where he is. Is Naldi even here this evening? It would be a real shame if he's not. Oh, here he is. There we go. Currently running in 9th place on the grid. Not improving on his time on this lap, as we can see. In fact, he has lost a little bit of time, so maybe just finding himself some track space for the next time round. But you know what? Let's jump on the dashboard of the lovely Mustang and go for a bit of a run round. If you want to call this one out, Martin, feel absolutely free.
Yeah, for sure. So we're driving into the first corner. It's kind of tricky because you need to downshift and then you need to stay on the track. Right now in the second corner, it's it's also quite hard because the braking point is not that clear. Here it's a full throttle, driving and shifting gears. Then the braking point is on the left when the runway is coming here. Once again, a little bit of a lift, and then full throttle once again. And then the driver should brake somewhere after the 100-meter board, and then yeah, you see the yeah, it's just unbelievable how Mustang is carrying those curves. I can't imagine doing that in my Ferrari. And then it's once again quite a big braking zone to the second chicane. It's very hard also to stay on the left, so you can be as fast as you can, because here's a quite big section when you're going full throttle, and that's also one place where you can have the overtake if you can get inside here. And there's one 180-degree turn, then a small S curve, and then it's the last chicane before the finish line. And we see that this driver is letting the drivers in the front just to not lose the time driving behind them, basically.
Yeah, obviously letting people through there, and maybe sort of clearing up some free space around him as well for this next lap. This will be his final attempt at setting a lap. Obviously 10th place at the moment. Going to jump on board with car number 7. It's another Mustang. There is a lot of Mustangs here this evening. I'm always amazed by how slack the track limits are through that second chicane. You can cut such a massive amount of the chicanes off. I mean, realistically, both tyres can be completely outside of the white lines, and somehow it still counts as a clean lap. I'm not entirely sure how that works. Probably also why I'm so incredibly slow. So yeah, there we go. Oh, a quick shout out. So seeing it's Ben Milden, who is one of our, I think it's our Tier 2 racer for Sector Blitz Racing. Got a couple of drivers in here in Tier 1 as well. Giving a shout out, and a shout out to you as well, Martin. Letting you know that they're enjoying having a second voice in the box.
Great, thank you. Once again, proud to be here, and yeah, the drivers are finishing their last laps, but not the last one. So we have 20 seconds left, and for those guys who just now crossed the start-finish line, they are having the last lap right now. You see that Matteo Naldi will this is the last lap for him, so he will miss a few seconds to be able to go into the next lap also. And let's see how he finishes the lap, and yeah, he's up on the 5th place, so he gained 6 places in this last lap, and right now only a few cars are in. I think the Kozlauskas that's in the 19th place right now is having the biggest improvements. It's but it's falling right now in the last corner, but still more than 2 tenths, so he will also climb most probably from the 20 to 14. Yes, so he gained 6 positions in his last lap, and right now the Waring is also quite fast. But let's see how he does. So it's basically he's in the also closer to the last sector. So right now still around 2 tenths, and if he will maintain the speed that he has right now, he could go somewhere around 14th place, I think. So let's see. A very big gain in the last corner, but yeah. So fast entry, not that fast exit, but still he's up on the 13th place. So basically he jumped up 7 places in his last flying lap. So I think that's a really good improvement. So yeah, that's an end of the qualification session. So we'll move to the race quickly. And regarding the race, maybe I can introduce you a bit on the rules, what we have in the race for today. So we have a 16-minute race. We have one mandatory pit stop where we need to change the tires, and we can't refuel the car. So basically it's really crucial for drivers to put in the right amount of the fuel. I think tier 1 is not struggling with that, but yeah, the lower tiers sometimes are struggling and putting in less fuel, and then they need to be very slow on the last laps just to finish. So yeah, I don't think that will be a problem. So for these guys in the tier 1, 16 minutes, 1 mandatory pit stop, and the tire change. So I think the drivers will go into the pit stop around the middle, so they will split it in the 2 halves, because let's say this track is, at least from my experience, is not that, it's not using tires that much, but still it's better, of course, to change them in the middle. So you have 2 sections with, so basically you are splitting it into 2 halves. It's like a 2 30-minute sprint races.
Yeah, so I think that sort of tyre-based, sort of tyre strategy that will give you the freshest tyres. You do see some wild tactics being played in Tier 1. And I'm going to call us back to quite a few seasons ago now, when we had Grantus Caracas was first into Tier 1, and that was only a 60-minute race. And he ran out of fuel on the final lap at Nürburgring GP. So it can happen. Even in Tier 1, you get some of the guys that really should know better making the odd little silly mistake. It really does happen. Or, say, as people go for a really early pit stop and then try and drag their set of tyres all the way to the end of the race. And it doesn't always work out for everybody. So, yeah, I would say buckle up for some pretty insane strategy calls from people. It does happen from time to time. We're just waiting so we can get onto the closer car footage. But while we're here, let's run through the grid as it stands. So at the front, pole position is Thomas, car number 28, that lovely Aston Martin. Then it is Aidan Walsingham running in second place. Nashgadashvili, third position. Fourth is Kubaki. Fifth, Naldi. Sixth is Giardier. Seventh is DeLucia. 8th is Ranieri, 9th is Poggi, and rounding out the top 10 is Remy Papin. So continuing on down a little bit more, then we've got Podens in 11th, Giulio in 12th, Josh Waring in 13th, Vinogradov 14th place, Zoo in 15th place, Kaz Lucas 16th, Martin in 17th, Matt York or Yorkie in 18th place, Kumpo 19th place, and then top 20 is Fazakas, which I think is our highest qualifying Lamborghini as well. Lawrence in 21st place, Buzov in 22nd, Sandre 23rd, Law in 24th, Livchenko in 25th place, Clifford in 26th, Walter Billen 27th, Dorber 28th, Crows 29th, Jorge in 30th, and 31st 35th, sorry, brain completely broken, 31st is Auselin. So it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race looking at that. You've got some big names sort of out of place. A couple of names there sort of towards the back. Buzov we've seen really be able to push forward. Clifford as well, another driver that's really capable of pushing forward and up the grid. So we can now finally move to a slightly better view. We can actually now finally see the cars a bit nicer. Let's have a quick flick around the old cams. But you get an idea of what the grid looks like. And obviously, I think we looked at that. I think it was over 20 cars within a second of each other in qualifying. So, as you were saying, obviously you are a tier 4 driver. It's amazing how the tier system works to keep you all really close, sort of in regards to pace. It is fantastic. I mean, do you see that as well? Obviously, a bit further down the tiers in tier 4.
It's of course it's the easiest in the tier 1 because all the all the fast drivers are there. In the lower tiers, of course, the games of the pre-qualifications and stuff comes in. So sometimes there are surprises that are very good guys that are sometimes in the wrong tiers. And also it could happen the vice versa. So basically there are guys whose racecraft is not still that good, but they are let's say the training and driving a lot of those pre-qualification courses. So basically in those courses they set really good those 3 consecutive laps. But at the season they are not that good when it's up to the racing, when it's up to the new tracks each week, where then in the place where they can't train for 2 or 3 weeks, only 1 track or 2 tracks. So yeah, so basically in the tier 1 it's everything's easy. In the lower tiers it's a bit more tricky, but still, of course. Also in the tier 4 we have, let's say, 15-20 competitive guys that could be, one day he could be 20th, one day he could win. So still, yeah, quite a tight races, and even if you're really fast, still for the 16 minutes someone will be in the front of you and someone will catch you all the time. So it was the same for me in the last race in Monza, where starting from the pit stop that was 14 minutes before let's say till the end of the race, we drove with one guy who was 1 till 2 seconds behind me and one guy that was 3.5 seconds before me, and that's how we drive 35 minutes in a row. So yeah, it is really tight, and that's why the Apex Online Racing is really interesting, because you can drive with the drivers to your speed, and then always a really interesting battles between them.
Yeah, the tier system does work really well, and I just want to make a quick apology. There may have been a couple of loud noises that came through on my mic at that point. I did end up muting it on the stream, but apologies, Martin, as my dog realised that the delivery man was here at the door, so was barking quite loudly. So apologies if anyone did hear any of those great big loud barks. There is literally a Labrador about 30 centimetres from me at the moment. But right, cars now stacking up, getting ready for the beginning of the race. So side by side, this should be a really good one. Fingers crossed for not too much lap 1 drama. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Fingers crossed there is no restarts here, so that regardless of how it goes, if everyone makes a whoopsie on lap 1, then that is it. You have to deal with your damage and obviously go for it. But now the final run to the line, everyone's stacked up side by side. In fact, brilliant formation. I've just noticed as well that Kibaki is in 4th place, and a great start for Kibaki as well, already pushing forward for 3rd place. He's going to have to try and go around the outside, can't get the braking done. Aidan Walsingham as well, looking to try and gain advantage, but hasn't been able to. Looks like Jardier, a little bit further back, has been able to just squeeze through. He does just about make it past, and he is continuing now up the inside. If he can get the inside for turn 3, that'd be absolutely amazing to get up inside Kibaki straight away, and he does. Big dive to the inside, a little bit of paint rubbing and a little bit of gravel usage there having to be done, but they are just about sticking it together. But you can see the way the gravel did really affect the pace through the chicane for the first time. It's going to be very tight. Hopefully everyone makes it through, no one drops out. We can drop back a bit further, and in some kind of miracle I think everybody has made it through the first chicane. Oh, here's the second chicane. It can all go a bit wobbly here as well, but at the moment, sticking with the sort of middle of the pack, it seems to be good. It's still super close up the front as well. the moment, the 3 Aston Martins leading the way. Almost seems like maybe those cars needed even more weight to them for how sort of good they are looking, but got to see how it lasts across the entire race as well. Giardier sniffing around the back of them, not dropping away. Oh, and there's our first yellow flag, car number 10. We've just seen them go off, and that was down at the hairpin at the back end of the circuit, so hopefully there wasn't too many people involved, but we obviously have live stewarding going on, so if there is an incident that needs investigating, do not worry, someone will be on it to keep an eye and make sure there is no funny business going on. In fact, I am just going to quickly make sure I have the race control up and running as well, just so I can see that, because if I don't, I won't know if there's anything going on. But at the moment, it's all sort of settled in surprisingly well. I think the main sort of battle going on here seems to be this sort of pack just outside the top 5.
Yeah, I checked the replay of that contact. So basically, it seems that the guy who ran into the other guys, he lost the places. So it's you try to go inside and then you lose the position. So that's, I would say, the best for all of the other players or drivers. Let's say that if you make a mistake or if you do some try. Then if you fail it, then you fail by yourself, not hitting someone out of the track. So that's really important.
Just jumping back quickly to Craig Law, as this is our first victim of the chicane. You can see the way it bounced over the curbs. He does manage to recover. And obviously having to then stop again before rejoining the circuit. But yeah, our first car to be fully attacked by the curbs. So that was Chris Law, so not Chris Law, I think it's Craig Law or Chris Law, let's try and remember. Craig Law, sorry, not Chris. Don't know why I always say Chris, but there we go, one of the Sector Blitz Racing guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a very early pit stop from that driver after that incident there. But as you were saying, yeah, so as it turns out, car number 10 was actually sort of almost more the car at fault that ended up losing the positions anyway, so probably fine that not much will happen in the steward's box. They'll probably look at it and go, well, sort of self-punishment happened in that situation.
Yeah, and also we can see right now that the Michael Thomas has also set the fastest time in this race, in these 2 laps, 1:28.2. So basically that's 1 second slower than he did in the qualification. But that's of course understandable, because if the qualification he did most probably with 10 liters of the fuel, not a big expert in the Aston's fuel. With the Ferrari for the 60 minutes I need around 93 liters. Aston is liking the petrol more, so I think a bit more than 100. So basically that's a 90 kilogram of a BOP for the Aston, because of the fuel. So of course then the car is slower, and yeah, so I think that's the 1 second with the 100 liters of the fuel is quite a good time also right now.
Yeah, I think we always tend to then, after the pit stop stage, we then suddenly get a whole load of brand new fastest laps coming in. It sort of peters off a little bit in the first section, and in the second half of the race it all heats up again. Obviously fresh tyres, less fuel. I think the only way it sometimes goes is the opposite way when it comes to the Porsches, where some of those, they really start to struggle with understeer. Obviously having a front-based fuel tank, towards the end of the race they can really start to struggle. And I think Aiden is really putting in quite a sort of a raggedy, hard, pedal to the metal drive here at the moment. He's got Nashvili, sort of a bit of a newcomer to Tier 1. Commentated on a fair few times in Tier 2 before, but obviously looking to prove himself up here at the front, and he's doing a very good job of hanging on to the back of Aidan Walsingham, obviously our current champion and defending champion. But at the moment, it does appear that there's maybe just dropping back a little bit from Thomas. Maybe he is having to maybe just look in his mirrors a little bit more than he thought he'd have to. Jumping back a bit further towards the back of the field, Matt York for York Sport Racing lost a lot of positions already and finds himself back in 28th place. And I can't remember exactly where he qualified, but it definitely was sort of, I think in the sort of, you know, the lower 20s. He definitely wasn't that far down. In fact, he might have been into the teens. But something's obviously happened. Doesn't appear to be too much damage. It might have been a case of maybe avoiding incidents. Sometimes you lose positions to, you know, avoid getting some sort of damage from picking it up in another car. But at the moment, most cars have sort of settled themselves in to their positions, and they'll be now waiting to see little mistakes from their competitors around them to try and gain an advantage, working out where people are slower, where they're quicker themselves, and just seeing what they can find. You know, working out where is going to be a decent spot to try and you know, throw a move up the inside or power it around the outside. But we'll have to wait and see. There we go, someone just saying there, York was in 18th and got collected in turn 1, so didn't see that. I don't think it even popped up a yellow flag, so I wonder if he ended up just washing out wide onto the gravel and losing a bunch of positions. So
yeah, that happened in the first lap. So it's just even the smallest mistake or smallest push, and as soon as you get out from the track, there's a big traffic, and it's very hard to get into it, back into it. And as the cars are driving bumper to bumper, basically, so you drive out, you lose 1 second, for example, it's 10 places in the first lap. So yeah, it's how it goes.
Yeah, and as obviously, as you were saying, the cars being bumper to bumper, it then makes sort of a safe rejoin as well. Quite a challenge. Oh, big move up the inside. Oh, and we had a Mustang sort of wandering off the circuit then at the front. I'm not sure which car that was, but we had a black Mustang, at least on my screen anyway. It was there for a minute and then it disappeared. But side-by-side action at the moment. Kubacki just about managed to stay in front of them. They have stayed side by side. Papin and Podens. Oh no, it's not Papin and Podens. It is Naldi, Papin and Podens. All three of them now. They've just about managed to sort themselves out into a line. They know not going to be able to do too much into the chicane. A big move up the inside. Super brave, and a questionable line there from Naldi. And the 996 car, I'm just pretty sure I've just seen that pop back to the pits. So, and sadly we won't be able to view the replay on that one. I think they had an incident and then immediately bailed and abandoned that one. So won't be able to catch that one. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see something in the stewards' inquiry for that Naldi move, because although he did have a car to his inside, there was a fair overlap there. And he did just straight line it and go straight through. The 777 car as well, now seen with the yellow flag. That is Dorber. We'll go back 30 seconds to see if we can catch that one. So where is he? He is just in front of Yorkie.
Yeah, but for sure Naldi will get the track cut, at least one track cut from the game. So let's see what the stewards will think, because yeah, it was a really shortened track. That's unlucky.
Yeah, just unlucky. As Yorkie just caught the back of him with the tiniest touch, but it's a very heavy braking zone there, and you're then starting to turn under braking as well. You know, hard on the brakes all the way to the apex, so nothing you could really do once that car had started to rotate. You know, you could see obviously that Matt York tried to then avoid any further incident, but yeah, sadly that is a rotation. He's lost a lot of ground there. Now finds himself at the back of the field.
I think we have lost Rainieri, right? So he was the black Mustang that was in the front, and I think he was in the top 5 or top 6 maybe, and then he maybe some technical issues, because I can't see him in the drivers list anymore. So most probably some technical issues, and that's why he disappeared.
Yeah, so sometimes you do get it. I mean, obviously it is one of those things sort of weirdly unique to sim racing, where you will get sort of internet issues where some people have to drop out because of, you know, lagging around, or they have that sort of thing. I like to imagine it is very similar to how in real life racing you'll have someone that will just get a random suspension failure or, you know, engine failure or something. So although it is annoying when your favourite driver suddenly drops out, it happens in real life racing as well. People do just, you know, suddenly when they're on an absolutely fantastic, you know, they're in the lead, they're doing absolutely great, and then suddenly they just pull over to the side of the track and you're thinking, why? What's going on? And as it turns out, the engine's decided to go bang on. Oh, you nearly just caught a big moment there. I'm not sure if that is possibly BMW going into the pits.
Yeah, it was because for the pits, the braking line, let's say the ideal braking line, braking point, if there's nobody in front of you, is just in the middle of the corner. So that's where you're braking from the full speed get into the pits, but I don't know what Kozlowski was really thinking there. So it was a really tricky move from him. So.
Yeah, it was you've got to be, obviously, you know, as much as you want to try and get the fastest possible pit entrance, the last thing you want to do is cause a collision, and then yes, you might have a really quick pit, but you might end up with a 30-second penalty just simply because you caused a massive collision. So, yeah, drivers have got to be a little bit careful, especially if there's lots of traffic around them. The last thing you want to do is be sort of on the optimum racing line and then try and cut across to the pits and find that someone's trying to outbrake around the outside and you don't brake. So yeah, it might be a bit interesting later on in the race when more of the cars decide to go into the pits. But Kaz Lucas obviously deciding early pit stop is the way to go for him. Little battle still carrying on. This is the battle for 5th place. This is Naudi, Podens and Papins. Papin? God, there's too many P's in one place. It's all getting a little bit tongue-tied for me there. But a nice little battle going on at the moment. In fact, let's see if we can jump on. Let's jump on board with Podens. And actually, yes, I can see that, yeah, Ranieri was running in 5th place because I've got a Phantom Christian Ranieri in 5th place as well as Kibaki. So that would make sense why that happened. But on the dashboard at the moment of let's go for Papin a little bit further back. So Papin following Podens, following Naldi, heading down into that first chicane again. You can see the way the Bentleys munch their way through that first left-hand curve and then try to avoid the curve on the exit. So we want to try and get as much traction as possible. And again, down into this second chicane, hard on the brakes over the small sausage curbs. Rolling on throttle now until now it's absolutely foot flat to the floor if the car can stick there. Someone in the front is kicking up a fair old bit of gravel. Continuing down, hard on the brakes here. Little bit deep there from the 69 of Podens. Just missed that apex. Got a decent exit though. Again, up to
it all depends on the exit because it depends on the car, of course, but it's not that good for the exit speed to go on to that inside curb because it could be a bit more slippery, and then the TC is working more. Of course, those guys are driving almost without TC, I think, but still you are losing the time because of the car and the left-right wheel not been able to accelerate that much. So that's why we saw Podens not driving onto that curb and most probably having a better exit speed. So yeah, it's not that simple in the some of the corners. So.
Yeah, some of the corners you have no choice. You have to use the painted stuff and try and get as much traction as possible. I do remember it was a couple of seasons back now. It was at the time we weren't using the custom balance of performance. So at the time I think it was the Lamborghini was the real sort of car of choice. But the only way to make it go fast was to run 0 traction control, and that did make for some proper nail-biting racing. That did. Because there'd be some very fast drivers out there, but it was whether or not they could possibly hold it together for the entire race without binning it. And I think most of the time it did work out quite well. I think Aidan was one of those drivers that was Aidan Walsingham was one of those drivers that was running 0 traction control. And yes, I think that takes a special kind of brain to be able to do that, and I definitely could not do it. Oh, and there we go. While I was chinwagging, incident gone on there. We'll go to the helicam and we'll jump back. But the 3 drivers we were watching the battle suddenly all find themselves absolutely stuffed. So probably jump back maybe a little bit too far on that one, but we'll stick with it for now. So this is coming up towards the final chicane. Goes on the brakes. Oh, and it's the tiniest touch. The smallest tap on the back end, and round the Mustang went. 2 places gained though for Papin. He'll be pretty pleased. Podens, I imagine, is probably going to find himself running with a penalty at some point when that gets looked into. Obviously, it takes a little while for the live stewards to go through and make sure they are all in agreement. I've just noticed that Naldi has set the fastest lap of the race, so he was going absolutely great guns until obviously he had that little moment there. But it's amazing how your race can just get turned upside down by the smallest of touches. Sometimes ACC can occasionally sort of kick up some slightly ridiculous amounts of contact damage. But yeah, that didn't look like much of a touch. But again, in a hard corner, you've got lots of braking, you're transitioning the weight of the car around. It really is a bad place to have a slight touch. And so nearly a lap later, but Papin was the real one to take full advantage of that one. I don't imagine he'll get a track cut warning because he slowed down so much. It wouldn't have been quicker through there, but I think for 2 places, if you get 1 track cut warning, probably worth it.
Yeah, for sure. I fully agree with you. That was he saw his opportunity and he fully committed on it. But yeah, very let's say not unneeded. So it was really tricky because the driver in the front did a quite extensive braking. So and he braked quite, I think, more because those guys were driving in behind each other for the few laps. So basically they know what to expect already. So and that kind of let's say accidents or mistakes from the driver behind we usually see in that when somebody faster driving is getting into behind the driver very fastly and he doesn't know where he brakes, and then he just brakes too late and hits the car driving in the front. But in this situation the guys were driving already for at least few laps behind each other, so that's some unexpected braking from the car in ahead, and then Podence was not able to react on it, let's say. But as you said, this was the smallest of the smallest touches that could be possible. So basically a few centimeters back and they would drive forward. So yeah, very necessary thing. And yeah, so let's see how it will proceed, and also what stewards will think about this one. And here we can see that Jardier is catching up the Nasky Disrilli, who's in the 3rd place right now. So maybe he will be able to jump into the top 3 and let's say end, at least at this point, the Aston Martin domination in this track, as all of the cars in top 3 right now are Astons. But I don't think that's a big, let's say, surprise. As I said before the race, the Aston is the most unbopped, let's say, underbopped car in this track. So it has minus 16 kilograms. So of course that's an advantage for these cars, that they have less weight than usual.
Just want to quickly come in and say, so penalties starting to roll in now. I'm sure we're going to see even more of them in just a second. The first one coming in is, and a second one, right, hang on. So I'm going to have to quickly just extend this little bit so I can see what I'm reading. So 2 penalties have come in. So lap 1, 22nd penalty for car number 10, that is Auselin. Receives a penalty for causing a avoidable collision on lap 1. There's quite a few cars involved in that one. And then the second one is a 30-second penalty for car number 214, which is Zhu. And again, that is receives a penalty for causing a collision. And I think that is also, was that lap 1? Yes, it was lap 1. And they are being extra hot on lap 1 incidents this season. So license points, there are 3 license points for both those drivers, so a big hit to your license. Obviously too many license points and you'll end up missing qualification, and then if you somehow manage to get even more license points after that, you can also completely be banned from the race. And if you're absolutely mad, you can actually get banned from online racing for a little while. Seen it once or twice where a couple of drivers have had to hang up their racing gloves and boots for a couple of seasons and wait for a chance to come back.
Yeah, we had it this year in for Tier 4.
Already?
In the second race. Yeah. In the second race, where the guy got an unsportsmanlike behavior, and he got 10 license points with 1 move, and that's it. He was disqualified for this and for the next season.
Well, that is, that is the good thing. Obviously, outside of Tier 1, there isn't live stewarding. It's obviously all done post-race. But it is very good to see that things do get looked into. I think there is is there another one coming up here? Another incident here as well, this is involving car number 54 and 79 on lap 2. No further action. Very minor contact with both cars staying on track, barely, but they did stay on circuit, so they've obviously decided that one doesn't require any further looking into. This battle really heating up now, though. Jardier all over the back. In fact, this might be a little move into the chicane. Not quite. I think Jards is probably aware that his car just cannot take the curbs here quite as well, but to be fair, he's got that Honda set up really good. It's flying its way through those curbs over and over again. I definitely could not keep the car in a straight line after the chicane if I went absolutely full send like they are. I'm pretty sure that some of these people might be thinking they're playing the new Microsoft flight sim that's come out, but not quite sure. They remember that these cars don't have wings. Well, they do have one, but not two. They're not made for flying. They're made for the exact opposite, to keep them squished down to the road. These drivers doing everything they can to seemingly make the cars fly as best they possibly can.
Yeah, so it's there are a few tracks or a few specific corners or it's where you can apply for the fly school. One of the most iconic ones is also in the Kyalami that will have a 7th round. So the last, one of the last corners there, there is a very big sausage curve into the inside, and you can apply to the Hondas or McLaren space program, and whatever car you drive, there is a possibility to apply for the space program for that manufacturer. That's for sure. It's the same as here in the chicane.
Yeah, I think that second to last corner is absolutely manic, and I'm just noticing now our leader's starting to come through a few back markers, and Aiden sort of caught that the worst he possibly could. I mean, in defence, the Ferrari kind of didn't really have anywhere to go, and that's again a bit choppy and changey in the background. That was all a bit questionable. We'll say that. I'm not sure if that was for position in the background of the shot, but we have one of the black Aston Martins going up the inside of the Ferrari. And as far as I can tell, that is not sort of part of the lead battle, so I think that might have been a case of trying to gain an advantage. A couple of drivers I see coming into the pits now. Got Dorber, Buzov, and Nashkadashvili. Obviously, we did see him pit, obviously deciding that maybe it was better to get himself in clean air and not have to go defensive against Jardier for much longer. Maybe fancies his chances a little bit more. I think
that was a really great move from him, because you can see how Jardier is a bit struggling against the guys who have been already in the pits, and that's one of the interesting points that I read a few times after our last race, because the rules in the Apex Online Racing says that if you are driving and there's some guy with the blue flags in the front, they need to let you go, but it doesn't count if there is a mandatory pit stop and the person that is in the front has done the pit stop already. Then basically it's still a racing, even if that's a blue flags, and that's the specific situation for Jardier, because right now I think he's behind the guys who have done the pit stops already, and they don't have obligations to let them through, to let the fastest driver through. Of course, let's say if the difference is too big, it's of course much better for them also to let the faster driver go, not to defend, because they're just losing the time. And here we can see, I think, how Jardier is losing the time, and how the first the P1 and P2 is going away. So if the Nashkadashvili can get into the free air, he will gain a lot of the car, a lot of the time from the Jardier, because he will just get away. He will be able to drive. There's no one in the front of him, at least what we can see right now. So he will be just able to hit all the apexes and all the, let's say, the best lines, and he could get really good speed. But for Jardier it will be a fight with all of the other drivers basically. So that's a really good move from Nashkadashvili. So let's see how the Jardier will respond right now.
Yeah, I think Jardier probably he rolled the dice, and sadly I think he's probably rolled it the wrong way. I think he needs to get himself out of that sort of squabble going on. I think surprising amount of drivers have already pitted. I think maybe a lot of the sort of veteran drivers not expecting people to be pitting quite as early, although loads of people coming in now. Vinograd, Levchenko, Zhu, Law, Kumpu, all coming in. Michael Thomas still staying out there for the minute. Aidan Walsingham doing a very good job of catching back up to him. We look over that rear wing. And looking back, you can see there's quite a few. Say Jardier has dropped right off the back of these. There's at least one back marker between them. There's a very fast-looking Mercedes sort of just sneaking around in the back of the shot as we look over the rear wing of the Red Kings Motorsport Aston Martin. And that gap has really, really opened up.
And that's what we can see also in the lap time. So the last lap for these guys was 1:28.4 and 0.5. And Jardier last did, okay, this lap he did almost the same. He lost only 0.3, but in the previous lap he lost more than a second. So basically that's, and yeah, here you can see how one of the guys got into the middle of those two leaders. It's almost impossible, right? There was the smallest gap and he still was able to get in the middle of them. And you can see there is more and more drivers getting in the middle of the P2 and the P3, that is Jardier right now. So as the Jardier needs to be faster than them, so I think it will not help his lap times. But on the good side, the guys that are coming up from the pits, they have new tires, so most probably they should be at the same pace as the other drivers, because let's say if the Thomas at the beginning of the race did 1:28.2 with the full fuel tank and with the new tires, then right now he's doing 1:28.4. So basically that's 0.2 slower than he did basically with 2 times more fuel than he has right now. But yeah, we see that Jardier is still remaining on the track, so basically he sees that it's a free space on the front. But so basically as soon, let's say as long as there will be a free track in front of him, I think he will remain on the track, because he understood that in the first laps he lost quite a lot of time. So right now he needs to get him back, but I think there was, at least in the first corner, it seems that the guy who was behind him on the new tires was trying to overtake him. So he's feeling that he's faster on the new tires. So then of course it's not that easy if you're driving in the P1 right now and you need to defend from the guys behind, because they have a new tires on and they are trying to overtake you. So basically you need to take those a bit of defensive lines. That of course is not the fastest ones.
I think this is going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on now, and it is Nashkadashvili, who obviously was running in 3rd place before he pitted, but he came out into some lovely clean air. I think Aidan is on the move, and I think maybe I'd be surprised if Nashkadashvili manages to catch, but he might do actually. They're going to be like side by side. Let's go up to the helicam and see if we can spot them leaving the pits, and we can. Aidan's going to have the inside, but not able to do it, and so Nashkadashvili gains 1 position. His tyres obviously a few laps older, but they will be fully up to temp. Everything will be up to temperature. Brakes, tyres. He'll be in the groove. He knows how that car feels on the tyres already. This could be.
Yeah, he needs to take an advantage right now in the first lap, or this lap or the next lap, when the Thomas's tires are still not, and the brakes the brakes are okay, I think, but the wheels, the tires need to get into the temperature. So basically he needs to use this or the next lap to get in front of him. So let's say in the easy way. Afterwards it will be harder and harder, because the other guys will also have the tires in, but that could also of course let's say be worse or not that good for him, because he went for the pit faster than both of these guys. Let's say it's 6 minutes, so it's 4 laps more. So that of course will get let's say back from him at the end of the race, because his tires will be a bit worse than those two. But let's see how it goes. So we see that Nashkadashvili right now has the fastest lap, and it's 1:27.8. So that's basically 6 tenths faster than Thomas and Walsingham was driving before the pit stop. So let's see when the tires are getting into the right temperature. Let's see what those guys could take. And we see that Honzik, the Jardier, is still on the track. He's going into the pits right now, but his last lap was 1:28.6, so that's basically 1 second slower. So and with the and we can see the move from the Nashkidashvili, and
yeah, bit of a bump between them two, and then nearly again they stay side by side. He gets run out a little bit there as well. Yeah, that's probably not. That was obviously Nashkidashvili trying to go for it, but in fact it now looks like he's going to lose a position possibly to Aiden as well.
No, he's inside. I don't think he will lose it, but oh no, but it's
a bit scrappy.
That's a quite hard racing, let's say, from the tier 1 guys.
Yeah. It does sometimes get a bit heated between them, and fair play that they've managed to obviously traded a fair bit of paint as they've gone along, but they have managed to stay side by side through some fairly tight bits. Aiden maybe just trying to push across and close off on Nashkidashvili, and then tries to get the inside of the braking. Aiden obviously been with us a fair while. Nashkidashvili not as long, a fiery young racer. He's very quick though, it's got to be said. He's sort of come absolutely storming into the series, and he's been really good. I mean, he's battling out right now with some of the biggest names in most of sim racing. Aiden and Walsingham, a very big name. Obviously, you see them all across, and they are still side by side. And this is exactly what Jardier is going to want. He is going to want them to make the mistakes. They tried to go absolutely side by side, but not quite able to. And finally, Aiden, probably in a case of self-preservation, drops back in behind and holds it together. But I imagine Aiden is going to be proper fired up. He will want to get that position. And it's all getting a bit close. And meanwhile, Jardier is probably rubbing his hands together and thinking, come on, boys, trip up again. Let me come through. He'll be waiting for a slight mistake.
That's a proper fight and proper racing. If you want to show the kids how to race each other a bit hard way, then that's the thing, right? So they went side by side for, let's say, 4 or 5 corners or even more, so that's basically half of the lap. They went purely side by side, and they were, let's say, giving as much space as needed for other driver, but not a centimeter more, and sometimes maybe even a bit less than needed. But yeah, that was a really hard and an interesting fight. So let's see how that will proceed. But let's say as you said, that at one point Jardier was the biggest winner of this one. Firstly, because he gained the time. Of course, Thomas also lost the time in that first fight, so I think he lost around second, maybe a bit more. But you can see how much the Nashkidashvili and Walsingham is losing. And that's only one of the things, because there were some small contacts, but still contacts, so that means there is at least some damage for the cars, and that's for sure also not helping the cars to be as fast as they could be. So let's see right now how the Jardier can use it. And of course he has the newest tires of all of them, basically, so he has like around 10 minutes or 8 at least minutes better tires than Nashkidashvili. So I think it will be really interesting at the end. But we see that Papin is also not letting the Jardier go, right? So he's off from the pits, and the Papin is putting the pressure, and also the Podance is just behind him. So a lot of interesting fights for us in the next 24 remaining minutes in this race.
Yeah, I think probably Jardier is just far enough ahead of Podence ahead of Papin to maybe not be going defensive, but Papin setting the fastest lap of the race at the moment with a 1:27.762. So he is very quick, and he is catching up with the back. I think the main thing as well with that, obviously the contact between Nashkidashvili and Walsingham, there is obviously the damage to the cars that may have ensued as well, but also the stewards will be watching, and obviously if they feel like there was anything sort of untowards going on there, I mean, they did both sort of seem to give it give it to each other in equal doses. It wasn't a case of all a one-sided thing. They did seem to sort of squabble fairly hard, but even obviously, you know, Thomas versus Nashvili on here in the chicane. You know, if they don't feel like there was you know, sportsmanlike conduct, again, we might end up seeing a little bit of something. I'm just seeing as well there's some more penalties rolling around. 20-second penalty for Matt York, and that was on lap 6. I think there was that bump that we saw that obviously as they were going into the chicane, wasn't it, that rotation that we saw. 20-second penalty there, and then another one here as well. Zoo picking up a penalty. In fact, I think this might be a second penalty of the race. Where are we seeing here? Oh, this is on the opening lap between the third and fourth corner, on the opening lap, causing an avoidable collision there as well. So more penalties rolling in. Nashvili still very much squabbling it out with Walsingham. Walsingham looking to the inside, not quite able to. Obviously running a tighter line, a slightly slower exit. Wasn't quite able to do it. Nashvili is putting up the fight of his life at the moment. He's going to have to make that Aston the widest Aston Martin for a full, basically 23 minutes. I think it'll be interesting to see how the driver does when he is being chased down by Aiden. I think Aiden a little bit slower there through the chicane. I have seen some fairly hefty track sort of, you know, cuts from both these drivers. I know it's, you know, they're quite slack here at Zolder in the old track limits department, but this is one of those things you've got to look out for. You might be doing some absolutely fantastically fast laps, but if you are getting too many track cuts, you're going to find yourself with a drive-through penalty, and that is the last thing you want, because as on any circuit, having to go into the pits, drive all the way through and out the other side, it just absolutely puts your day to an end, really. Sometimes it is a case of just, you know, hang up the gloves, you're done. Very unlikely to be able to come back from that.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is, and especially in this track, let's say in the there's of course some other tracks where the track cuts is really important. One's getting into my mind is Misano, for example, but also other tracks, of course. But in Zolder, as I said, so the chicane is crucial for the laps, for the lap time, and also for the speed. And if you get the third, so that's the game's calling it final warning for track cut, you need to be very, very cautious. And that's of course for these drivers, they are really, really good, so they have made quite a lot of training, so they could, let's say, do the line almost perfectly each time, but still they need to be a bit cautious, because if they're driving the perfect line, it means that it's really close to the limit, right? So, and if you brake a bit too much or a bit too late, you can get the fourth of the track cut, and you could get the drive-through. So basically that's really tricky, and that's why no one in these let's say tracks where the track cuts is really, let's say, possible. Nobody is willing to have third one. First one, okay, second one, no problem, but then when you get the third one, you really get a bit scared, and you need to be cautious, right? So, and at the same time, we see that Pudens is getting also 20-second penalty, and that's most probably for that contact what we also saw on the stream, and that was with Naldi, right? So he bumped in the back of the Naldi in the last corner.
Yeah, just waiting for that one. Oh, here we go. It's here now. So yeah, that was a 20-second penalty and 2 license points. And that was between car number 69, 14, 27 and 79. And yeah, Christian Spoden for avoidable contact. And another one, oh, this is a no further contact. And that was obviously the incident we saw earlier on. It wasn't this one. So Nico Kumpo, who was responsible for the contact, but got almost all of the damage resulting from the contact. So obviously there was an incident there, but the car at fault was the one that took the brunt of it. So that's put an end to that one. Thomas being able to run away, nearly 4-second gap, Thomas. And Nashvili now finds himself leading a train of incredibly fast drivers. And he's got Aidan Walsingham right on his gearbox. Then he's got Jardier, and then he's got Paplin as well, looking to try and take advantage. And I imagine we are going to see Podens, obviously with that 20-second penalty, but until he takes the penalty, he can race all the way up. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Just seeing as well, someone in the chat saying that he thinks Paplin maybe burns through his tyres a bit quicker than the other drivers around him. In fact, let's jump to this one. We're staying on the helicam for a little moment. Nope, we'll jump down to the track one. Another little bit of contact between these two drivers. Aidan trying to get back to the inside. He's now side by side. And then you can see Jardier as well trying to follow Aidan through. It's going to be interesting stuff, this.
Right now they were in the switched positions, right? So in the moment where Nashkevich overtook Walsingham, he was on the outside. Right now he was the one inside. So Jardier also, yeah, I was willing to say going through, but no. So he and there's also Papin, so it will be really interesting between those two guys.
It's been one of those things. It's definitely been a change in Jardier's racing style since he's been doing real life Clio racing. He definitely seems a bit braver. He's obviously always been an incredibly accomplished racer. He's been very, very good. But I think maybe the real life racing, especially in Clios, where you can definitely be a lot more elbows out and a bit more aggressive, he's definitely just turned up his aggressive dial a little bit. He's not, so, you know, driving in a bad manner whatsoever. It's still completely clean racing, but it's definitely, he just looks, the car, the way he moves the car around is more aggressive on the circuit, and it definitely gives him that opportunity of, he'll be like, I am going to throw it up the inside and just try and make it stick. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I say at the moment no place is gained, but it's those moments where he can take advantage, like going towards that first chicane. You know you're going to be off the optimum line if you're on the inside of the circuit for that, but he pushed and pushed and pushed and then got on the brakes, managed to get the car up the inside. It hasn't worked out for him at the moment, but he's now worked out that there is opportunities to get past the Aston Martins in front. Although they have spaced out just a little bit. Aidan finally probably getting a chance to breathe for a brief moment. A huge launch there from Jardier as he went absolutely yeeting over that curb. It was absolutely flying through the air. I imagine probably find Papin could see Nashkevich underneath the Honda for a brief moment then.
Yeah, so and I will try to also use my let's say access, or how to call it, privileges, right? So I see that Pasma Delvey is giving a shout out to the car number 98 and 69 that are both Latvian guys, Krister Spodens and Maris Lorenz. So and the fun fact, yesterday when we were talking each other about the names and about the surnames of the drivers, so I was mentioning you, Tim, about Maris Rižanovs, right? So, and Pasma Delvey is, that's Maris. So he's the guy that I need to learn in our Latvian stream, that his name and surname. So shout out Maris to you.
I'm not even going to attempt. I'll leave you to learn. There's so many names that I struggle with. Was it kind of a 79 as well that you were saying about? Was it kind of a 79? Which numbers? You said 69 and...
69 and 98.
98. Oh, that's the one there. There we go. In fact, having a nice little sort of, there's a nice little stack of cars building up here back further in the grid. And there we go. One of the DRS esports Mercedes there. In fact, there's a couple of Mercedes, a little kind of duo of Mercedes running along there. Buzov. I'm going to quickly say it because he's one of the Sector Blitz boys, Buzov. I'm pretty sure he's a Sector Blitz racer. Let's double check. He is. Give me your new livery. I need it, please. You've been teasing me for like a week and a half, saying you had a new one, and I require it. I require it desperately. But nice little squabble going on here. Actually, we've been so concentrating on this front battle for absolutely ages that's been sort of waging on. We've sort of neglected some of the other parts of the field. I do apologise. We always try and get as many different battles on the screen as we possibly can. But as we said, the front end battle has been fairly hot stuff.
No, exactly, because this track is delivering fights. So we can see right now in the, let's say, I will say that you can see all the gaps for yourself. But basically, so Nashkidashvili on the third, Jardir 2/10 off, Papin 3/10 off. Then Delucia in the 9th place, 2/10 off. Then we have a big train starting from 13th place till 18. So basically it's 3, 7, 7, 3 and 5/10 off. So basically we have a big train of 6 cars there. And then we have another train that's starting from the position number 21, that is Poggi. Then York, Billen, Hackey, Clifford and Lowe. There's one more it's also 6-car train. So that's, you can imagine how hard it is for us to track one of those, because we have at least 3, 6 or 7 car trains on the race. But yeah, we can see that Nashkidashvili is struggling a bit, most probably because of the damage, maybe because of the tires, or maybe just of the speed. And Jardir is really getting him in, and also Papin is getting really close to the Jardir. So let's see how this will end up, because at this point it really, we can really see that Nashkidashvili is taking let's say the real defensive lines, and he's always staying inside. That is much slower, and we can see the Papin is already in the back of the Jardir, and he needs to defend from the Papin. So yeah, that's really interesting driving. And here I think Jardir will have inside. Nashkidashvili is going for the switcher. Oh no, it seems that he just tried to protect himself from the Papin right now. So yeah, my, let's say, wild guess would be that Jardir will go in the front, and then the fight will still remain with those 3 guys. It's Papin and Podans. So let's see, but there is a quite big gap behind Podans. At least on this big straight, we don't see anyone behind him. But of course, we need to, in the case of Podans, we need to take, let's say, in account that he has a penalty of 20 seconds. And yeah, Nashkidashvili is, it seems that he's starting to lose after that first crash with the Thomas, when he was, let's say, full on, and he was, I would say, the fastest driver on that grid at that point, maybe because of the Thomas's cold tires. But still, after that contact, it seems that he is losing the key of his racing, and he's struggling a bit. That of course could also be caused by this crash, because if you get that could be when we see that Maris Lorenz is turned and his car is looking opposite direction. So let's see where he right now in the replay. So the first chicane done, and the second one, there's one more Mercedes and behind him. So let's see if there's a hit from behind.
Oh, incident in front actually, and just got caught up in it. The number 4, that was the Lamborghini, ended up catching him. He rejoins the circuit and nearly gets into another incident as well. So a bit of an unfortunate sort of bystander in that incident, but lost a lot of positions there, didn't he?
Yeah, it's a very unlucky moment, let's say, because it seems that he will be able to run on the right side of the standing car, but the car was what was behind him, Buzo, I think. So he was quite far at the beginning, but then as he getting closer, he was not able to not hit Lorenz in the back, and that I think caused also him to go a bit faster, and then he a bit scratched the car that is standing and turned him over. So yeah, very unlucky for all of the drivers, but that's how it's happened in the racing. So
yeah, sometimes. Oh, that was a bit of a curb ride there. Let's see if we can catch that one. I think that was Law that we just saw go absolutely bicycling his way, and actually there was a little bit of contact on the entrance to the corner. He finds himself dropped back.
Let's say stick that one with the stewards, but it seemed that the Aston itself firstly tried to push a bit more into the first corner. He tried to push the Lamborghini in, and Lamborghini was also still driving straight. So basically that was once again also unlucky for I would say from both of them, but Craig Lowe was the one who lost the positions, and the Lamborghini is still there. I think he also lost one, but still, yeah. But that's it's a small race in the incident. So that's just this chicane is producing it to us, let's say.
Oh, this is the big one. The big one has just come in. Michael Thomas with a 10-second penalty. So he is leading the race. He has set the fastest lap. He absolutely monstered away from everybody. Just nearly 5.5 seconds ahead of Aiden. But that isn't going to matter. He has to now carry a 10-second penalty. So Michael Thomas receives a penalty for pushing the car off the track.
That's most probably with Nashvili, because
it was.
At least it's stream. It seems so that in the chicane he wasn't inside and he was trying to get as much as he can. So basically he tried to push Nashvili even more to the outside, and yeah, but we can see that how it's ended, right? So we see that Thomas right now is the first one, but with 10-second penalty he's fourth right now. So the Papin is in the third position right now, and that's let's say that moment got even worse for Nashvili, because also Podans is getting him. Of course, the Podans has 20-second penalty, so I don't think that in 8 minutes he will be able to get a 20-second gap on him, but still, so basically he was fighting for the first one, and right now he's already sixth. So yeah, but it's how the racing goes, let's say. But then let's say if we have a 10-second penalty for him, that's for the moment that was 20 minutes ago around. So I think the live stewarding is getting faster back, let's say, to the pace, and most probably they will be up to date with all of the crashes that happened so far.
Yeah, definitely. As the race goes on, they get a bit of a chance to finally catch up. Obviously, lots of contact and little tiny side-by-sides during the first couple of laps that they have to have a look at anyway, just to sort of see what is going on. But yeah, obviously, as the cars separate out a little bit, the contact between cars definitely changes significantly as it goes. Michael Thomas is still pulling away, but I can't see him finding another bunch of another 5 seconds in 7 minutes. It's just very unlikely, unless for whatever reason suddenly Aiden decides to go super defensive against everyone. So
I think that could change if the guys could be a bit more, let's say, closer to each other. But right now I can see that Aiden is 5 seconds behind him, and then Jardier is like 3 seconds from him, and the Papin is 2 seconds from Jardier. And knowing these guys' pace, and that it's only 4 laps left, I don't think that 2 seconds is enough, right? So they are, let's say, driving a tenth from each other or each other's time. So yeah, I think that it will be very, very hard for Thomas to get a 10-second gap. But yeah, right now the gap has been, oh no, okay, that's a once again bad exit or something, because it was almost the 6 seconds, but right now it's 5.5 left. But let's say the big thing is that right now the Papin is 10.2 seconds behind Thomas. So basically at this point Thomas is still in the third place. So I think one of the questions could be if Thomas is able to get the 2 more seconds on Honzik to stay on the second place. So in the last lap it was 2.5, 3 tenths, and as it's 4 laps left, I don't think that he will be able to get it, but let's see. You never know, right?
Oh, I just seen the yellow flag pop up. That was for car number 98. What happened here? Let's go back, see if we can catch it on the 10 seconds. Not quite far enough. I didn't want to jump back the full 30, but we just missed that. And there's a recovering law as well there as well. So
you need to press the 13 right now, so to make it. No,
don't think it will make it back. I know we've done it before, and it just doesn't quite catch it. But we saw Craig Law as well there, recovering. So I think we can only imagine that possibly something went on between them, whether it was contact or whether just something happened. But
Let's see. I will try to get it in the replay, so I can see what is. what happens there.
So the battle's on track at the moment. Sort of the front end has opened up a fair bit. This nice little battle going on here. We've got Kazlukas versus Kroos versus Fazekas. BMW versus Mercedes AMG versus Lamborghini. It's looking like Fazekas has sort of caught up to the back of these two pretty quickly, and also got Poggy as well. Another driver kind of almost out of place slightly. Continuing to squabble on. But for the moment, Kazlukas doing his best to keep his elbows out and hold on to the position. We've seen a fair few looks from Kroos, but not able to actually push his way through. Any update on the incident for us?
No, I don't know what happened with the race control. The live timing is working, but I don't see any incidents in the last 5 minutes. So either that's a problem with race control, as the maximum something is reached that I haven't seen, or maybe that was just a yellow flag from him, as that's not an incident, and that's why I don't see it.
Quite possibly it might have just been a case of clipped the grass under braking or something like that, and just rotated the car around, and there's a law that we saw going across the dirt as well. That might have been completely unrelated. That might have even been avoiding action. So who knows in that respect this time round. Trying to see where the battles are really heating up. So Kazlukas still holding off Kroos at the moment. Jump to this one as well. It was saying that Kumpo was in a really close battle. It's not that close. The timing board may have lied to me briefly there. Oh, here we go. There's a move. Possible. Can Martin get it done? I think he probably can. A little bit of side-by-side. Just driving that very battered Mustang up towards the final chicane. Now he's still on the inside for the braking zone. What can he do? Still side-by-side, but can't get it done. And through goes Victor Martin. Obviously, that car just a little bit more nimble through the turns compared to that slightly scuffed and buffed Mustang, and he gets the move done and is already starting to open up the gap.
Yeah, so right now I think the closest gap is between Kazlauskas and Kroos in the 17th and 18th position. So that's 10 tenths, 3 tenths right now there.
Yeah, looking pretty close between them. Is there that little battle going on as well, just behind them as well, isn't it? That's the Fazekas-Poggy battle as well. Sort of all four of them involved in a good old squabble. Let's look over the rear wing of the Kazlukas 747 BMW. Trying to see now where sort of Mercedes has advantages, where the BMW has advantages.
Yeah, and just to give you a bit of the update of the situation in the front. So basically, Aiden is 6 seconds behind Thomas, and Jardier is 1 second behind Aiden. So basically, that means right now that Aiden is going to win this race, and Jardier will be the second one, and the Papin is 12 seconds behind the Thomas. So basically, that means that even with this 10-second penalty, Thomas will still stick in his third position. And then yeah, so basically then the Papin is in the one will be in the fourth. Podence right now in the 5th, but he will fall off. I will calculate it. He will fall off to the 10th place, I think, with his 22nd penalty. So basically all the guys that are starting from the 6th till the 10th, they will move up 1 position from now, after the race, because of the 22nd penalty of Podence.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to double check on the so all the penalties should be applied as they cross the line, so we should be able to see where everyone ends up. There's a bit of a mix-up, as we're saying, right near the front. I say Thomas, I imagine, is absolutely gutted after being able to sort of hold on to the race lead for pretty much the entire race, and then finds himself all the way back here. So our leader now, or lead on the road.
But that's an interesting thing what he's doing. It seems that he slowed down to go 1 more lap, and doing that. Oh no, but it's
there we go.
It's
yeah.
okay.
That is
it's
the
still.
end of it.
I thought that maybe he will get those guys a bit closer to himself, but it didn't happen. So Maybe you
Yeah.
just need to drive an Aston there on the fourth gear with the full throttle, not switching to the 5. So
Yeah,
I
wonder
can't
if
comment
it was.
it.
I wonder if knowing he had a 10-second penalty coming, he maybe just thought, let's just get this over with and we'll see it to the line, sort of thing. So drivers still out there, haven't finished yet, but we're getting the big wash of purple smoke drifting over the screen. Just on with Buzov at the moment. He's coming towards the line, car number 95. I hear a car somewhere ditching it into the gravel. In fact, we're going to jump back quickly because this one's still going on. Crows versus Clifford. And in fact, has that had a bit of a change round? Because I'm sure that wasn't the battle that we were keeping an eye on a minute ago. I don't think it was Crows and Clifford, it was somebody else, I think. So that's had a bit of a change. Craig Law just coming across the line now, and I think there's only a few drivers out there left. We just saw Lawrence coming towards the line as well. Dorber coming up as well.
And there's 2 guys still left, but yeah, he was the Crows was fighting with Kozlauskas for the 7th in place. So
Yeah.
basically, it seems that there was some contact between them because right now he finished in the 22nd position.
So all a bit of a change up right there at the end. Sort of the main thing is going to be having a look at the race finishing. So it ended up being Aidan Walsingham finishing in first place, Giardier in second. Michael Thomas just holds on to third place. Super close between them. Remy Papin fourth, Nashkidashvili fifth, Vinogradov sixth, Delucius seventh, Martin eighth, Josh Waring in 9th and Podens in 10th. Martin, did you want to carry on with a bit more of further down the list?
Yeah, sorry, where you left off. I was checking some.
Oh, no, apologies. Continuing on from 11th place.
Okay, so the Sandra on the 11th, then Naldi on the 12th, Guilot on the 13, Buzo 14, Levchenko 15, Kumpu finished 16, Kozlauskas in the 17th position, Fazekas 18, Poggi 19, then the 20th position the Bilen finished, then 21st Hacky, 22nd Crows, 23rd Clifford, 24 Love, 25 Lawrence, 26th York, and then 27th Dauber, Zhu in the 28th, and Quiselin in the 29th. So I think we started with 31 cars. So basically, know that we lost Raineri, most probably for some technical difficulties, and then we lost one more car in the race.
Yeah, so only a few cars, not that bad in the grand scheme of things, depending on cars that did drop out. Hopefully, going to get some post-race interviews. Normally Aidan and Jardier are always very keen to come in and have a chinwag, so we will just have to hang on a brief moment while they finish celebrating their race. But it was a good one here this evening, it has to be said. A couple of incidents. I think there might be some post-race penalties coming through as well, obviously. That is a case that they do sometimes come through post-race if people sort of feel that an incident was missed or simply they ran out of time towards the end of the race. Obviously, we had that issue where one of the Mercedes, I think it was Melvin, dropped back a long way. So it'd be interesting to see. So fingers crossed we'll get some people in for interviews very soon. I might have to give them a poke with a big stick. But just so it looks a little bit prettier than just looking at the results over and over again, we're just going to switch over to the nice background image that we have. So just 2 minutes while we switch our way over. Turn the music off because we don't need the music running at full volume anymore. And we don't need the timer up there anymore because we're definitely not starting soon. We have just finished the race. So nobody has appeared yet for interviews. I am going into the chat to poke them.
No, I will stand on the driver's side because you just finished your race, basically. So I think the big part of if not all of those guys in the tier 1, then I have to say for sure the biggest part of them have their sim rigs Some of them are driving with the display, let's say the monitor. Some of them are maybe driving with a VR. For example, I'm driving the VR, so I fully understand those guys that are coming into the 5 minutes, because firstly you need to, after the top 3 or win, you need to calm down a bit. You need to turn off your VR, then you need to get up from the rig, sit next to the PC, change all the microphone and earphone settings to the earphones, not to the VR and stuff. So yeah, it takes some time for those guys to jump in. So that's most probably just time for us where we can do a quick recap, right, of the race. So do you have any highlights or few highlights in the mind from this race?
I mean, obviously, you've kind of got to look at that sort of strong front end battle that we had the entire way through. I think my low light is, as opposed to highlight, was probably the Thomas Nashkadashvili incident. It was a real shame to see, obviously, that come to the end and obviously come with a penalty. I'm trying to think of like which was my big highlight. There's so much has gone on this race. I haven't. I almost feel like I've been overwhelmed with it. Probably Giardier completely taking off absolutely ridiculously when he had. I think it was Papin right behind him, and you could see one of the Bentleys behind from underneath the car. I think that was probably one of my big highlight moments. What's sort of been a standout moment for you in this race?
Oh, I think it was the fight between the Walsingham and the Nashkadashvili when they went, let's say, almost half of the lap, one to, let's say, close to each other and side by side. And that's a really, let's say, a clip where what you can cut out and put everywhere, and teach the kids how to fight, let's say, hard way, but still, as they gave gave, as I said, so in the race, so as much place as needed, but not a centimeter more, maybe sometimes even 10 20 centimeters less than needed, but still the other driver was able to let's say to live there, to be there. And that's when we said it started how much, 2 corners below before the finish line, right? And it ended only after the big straight on the first chicane. So basically, yeah, so it seemed a few corners before already that it will end, because the driver who was outside, I thought that okay, he will not be able to stick it. But still, as the driver, that's if you're driving really close to each other, and if you push the driver, let's say the outside driver is pushing inside the driver inside, so basically then the outside line sometimes is even a bit more faster because you can carry more speed. And that's just what happened in the turn before the big straight and before the chicane, where the Nashkidashvili was driving an outside line, so he was able to carry a bit more speed than the Walsingham inside. And yeah, he was able to, I don't know, even at that point, either that was an overtaking or that was defensive move, right? Because I think the Nashkidashvili was in front of him. So basically, he completed a 6 or 7 or 8 turn defensive move. So, so he didn't overtake. So he defended his position. So that was the highlight for me. So, and for those ones who let's say are coming right now or went for the T, and if you seen the whole stream and didn't see that particular episode, then you should go back. It was around 25 minutes till the end of the race, and that was a really amazing battle between those two.
I will have a definite jump on and make sure we make a clip of it. And we can actually now talk to not only our pole position finisher, Aidan Walsingham, but obviously involved in that absolutely crazy battle that was going on. So we can drag him into the interview booth right now. Aidan, this is becoming a little bit of a repetitive thing, isn't it? You've been here now pretty much every single round you've been in for a conversation with us.
It's not bad, is it? It will stop next week, but we can get onto that in a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you not here, or are you just not looking forward to it?
No, I'm not here next week, which is a shame because it would be, obviously it'd be it's routine being here. I like being here.
You need to find someone to race in your place. You need to make some phone calls. Get Luke to pop over your house and jump on the rig for one night and log in as you.
That's against the rules, surely.
I mean,
No, you need to find an opportunity to go from elsewhere. If that was and that was just to be let's say to get a bit of a secret. So the second race of the last week was that 2 weeks ago that we're in the Donington. I did it from my friend's rig that is like 300 kilometers from my house because I needed to drive to another city, and I know that one of my friends has a rig there. So basically, I went and I drove from his rig. So yeah, it was quite tricky, but still possible. So maybe you have that kind of opportunity.
I don't know if they have many sim racing rigs in airports, but I'll ask around.
I'm sure there is somewhere. I'm sure you'll be able to find it something somewhere. Aidan,
Some
obviously,
VIP lounge somewhere.
yeah, be able to do it, or just take your rig with you. Just stop letting us down. You need to be with us. It's got to be quickly said. Obviously, the battles you were having with Nashgadashvili, as we said, we're going to clip it. It's again, it was Martin's highlight of the race. And to be fair, I don't know how it slipped my brain. It really probably should have been mine as well. Talk us through that, because obviously Nashgadashvili is a quick driver, but he's not normally sort of the kind of like, he's not always in sort of close battles with you. So this is probably the first time you've had some real long-term wheel-to-wheel racing with him. Talk us through that, because it was manic. There was a lap where you were side by side for at least 5 corners.
Yeah, it was a really good fight. For once, someone that doesn't esports people on the corner exit and drive them into the gravel. It was yeah, a really nice fight. He left exactly the right amount of space, and there was one moment which was dodgy, and I banged his door afterwards to say don't do that again. But I mean, apart from that, it was yeah, really good fight, really fair, and well, yeah, ultimately kept me honest. He didn't let me just walk over him. So
Yeah,
and
so
he even sold me a dummy in turn 1 at one point. So good effort.
Yeah, as I say, he's quite a promising young man. I think someone definitely to keep an eye out for the future. So they think definitely need to make sure you bag another championship before Nashgadashvili is up there fighting you for sort of pole position in the championship, because he's definitely seems to be going that way. He's come a long way in the time he's been here with Apex Online Racing. It's an absolute pleasure to see. As again, and probably for yourself as well. It's why you come to Apex Online Racing. As I said, there is no big prize money. There's not even SimSocks on the line anymore. RIP SimSocks. You're coming in for the competitive racing, so it's great to have sort of like drivers coming in and really sort of getting in amongst you lot and really, like you said, keeping you honest. It's good to see.
It's good as well because this is like the next generation of drivers in ACC, and like we talk about it on our streams a lot at the moment. We don't know what's happening in 2025, but still seeing people that want to improve and continue getting better. This is what's going to keep the game alive over the next couple of years. It's people that still strive for competition and enjoy the format that we have in ACC.
Yeah,
we don't know what whole AC Evo is going to fit, and we don't know if iRacing's up to the task just yet. So we'll see.
There needs to be an iRacing 2. There just needs to be an iRacing. There needs to be a new one at some point. It's like, because yeah, it's one of those things where it's great and there's a lot of different racing you can do, but it does look a little bit sort of like PlayStation 1 Lara Croft graphics, which I can't quite get my head around, if I'm honest. Aidan, it's been absolutely.
I just need a tyre model that doesn't feel like driving on a ball of concrete, and then it would be fine. But that's the problem. But anyway, I'll leave my rant in for another stream.
That's absolutely fine. I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk to you, maybe not next round, but in the future at some point. Right, we're going to get Jardier in because no doubt his followers are probably desperately waiting for him to put his attention back to them and not be waiting for an interview. So thank you ever so much for joining us, Aidan. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you again, and yeah, continuing your domination of the season 17.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Right, let's get Jardier in for a quick chin wag. Martin, I will let you lead this interview this time round. Here we go. Jardier, can you hear us?
Yo, yes, sir.
There he is, the happiest man in sim racing. Right, Martin, go ahead, go for it. Ask what you need to ask because it was a good race.
Teammate. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah, so firstly, congratulations on the second place at the end of the race. So maybe you can shortly, let's say, go through the race from your eyes, and then of course we'll have a few questions for some specific moments.
Oh, it was absolutely insane. The race, like racing on Zolder, is so crazy with the chicane and having like I was really struggling with the practice, and then somehow just before the quali, I tried with some crazy setup, illogical work, and it actually helped me so much that I was fighting for pole position. And yeah, it was really, really close in the quali. And then at the beginning of the race, I had an amazing first lap, very aggressive first lap, went forward. And then I got stuck behind a white Aston Martin. Then I had the worst 4 laps in my life behind the back markers, people leaving the pits and everything. But I had to commit to my strategy with the overcut. And in the end, it basically worked really, really well. But it could have been even better if I got a little bit more lucky, I think, today.
Okay, so but then let's say it was the initial strategy for you to do overcut. Because at that point when the Nashville went to the pits and you were, let's say, struggling and getting and behind the backmires, I think at that point we thought that okay, it's you're losing time, let's say, behind them. So yeah, it was your plan to do to stay as long as you can, or you also had an idea if you're getting let's say behind the white Aston that you could do the, let's say, the pit the first one.
Yeah. So like, obviously, I was thinking about doing undercut to try to get something, but the Aston pitted so early that I had to go completely opposite. And I was really hoping that he will get the leaders and they will maybe fight, or I will have some chance after the pit stop. So I literally was like, okay, I'm gonna go overcut because the car behind me was like 7 seconds. So I have a lot of gap. Like at worst case scenario, I will be P4, but I will have a super fresh tires. So yeah, I had to. Yeah, like you want to go for Zolder undercut because the track position is more important. But as the guy pitted so early, I literally had no other chance but go as long as possible, and it worked really well, kinda.
So it went fully as you expected. So Nashville really just landed. So basically, after their pits, he landed just in the middle between them, and as he had a better tire, so the fight started, and also yeah. So basically, it went as you expected, as you hoped for. So that's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it could have been a little better. Like I was really hoping because I'm fighting with the championship with Aiden right now mostly because Michael missed one race. So I really wanted to get Aiden right. So I was right behind him when he was stuck behind the other driver. So I was really hoping maybe I will be able to get him or fight with him. And I had a really good chance when Aiden overtook the driver. I had a really nice opportunity to overtake him as well, but I took it probably a little bit too safe and basically messed it up. So I had to fight for another 3-4 laps, which cost me 4 seconds on Aiden. That was all enough.
And then how did the Honda feel on this track, especially with those big curbs and on the first chicane?
Oh, originally it was absolutely horrible. Then I did a illogical setup that kind of worked, but there's a lot of sliding, a lot of randomness. Especially like the first chicane is okay-ish, but the second chicane in the Honda was very painful today. Like a lot of bouncing and sliding and such. So it was quite hard, but yeah, it was quite better than I expected originally.
Okay, and then the last question from me. So Aiden said that he will not be able to join next week. So then what's the plan for you?
Oh, what track is it next week?
Oh, let me double check you on that one.
Should be Misano, I think, in the rain.
God. Oh, okay. Well, I need to win. That's if Aiden is missing the race, I need to win. That's my only chance.
Yeah, I remember that it was that I think 1 or 2 years ago in Suzuka. In Suzuka, in the rain, the BOP for the Honda was just amazing. So it was like half second faster than all of the other cars. So hopefully it's not the case in the Misano. Let's say that's hope for another drivers. It's hope for you.
Yeah, I hope I have no idea how Honda is in Misano, but as it is raining, then that helps me for sure a lot. So if the BOP and such is okay, I think I will have a great chance. And my track is very simple. Aiden is away. I need to win. There's no other option.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think that's
great. So then, yeah, Tim, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I think that is the thing. If you don't get him, at least on that round, if you don't sort of score big time, that really is almost going to be starting to put the sort of championship to bed, isn't it? One quick question for you, I did want to ask: have you raced at Mazzano in real life now?
No.
No, not yet. No.
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no.
No, that's fair enough. For a moment, I was thinking, hang on, I know there's obviously a lot of the European circuits you've been bouncing around in the Clios quite a lot. But I was thinking to myself, is Mazzano on that list? I wonder if sort of,
I really wanted. Yeah, I really wanted. I got an offer to drive it in a Clio Cup, but it was not part of my championship, but only the Italian European chance. But I was really thinking about the budget, so I didn't want to risk anything because we had a week after a right away race. So, but apparently it's a fantastic track, but also a lot of track limits abusements during the weekend. So I'm actually happy I missed it.
Oh, that's fair. Keep you out of trouble. Keep it clean. Jardier, absolutely fantastic chatting with you again. Fingers crossed for you that we get to have a chin wag with you again next time round. We are going to have to get Michael Thomas in because we've been he's been waiting a long old time, and I think he's probably very upset to have lost his pole position.
No worries.
But
See you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you. See you.
Oh, he's already gone. Right, let's drag Michael Thomas in for a quick chin wag. Michael Thomas, it was a fairy tale that very nearly had a happy ending, and it just didn't quite come together at the end. Obviously, that penalty that you picked up while squabbling it out with Nashkadashvili, obviously then giving you that 10-second penalty. For a little while, we thought maybe you'd have enough time to pull away and get 10 seconds ahead and hold on to pole position, but it just wasn't meant to be this evening. Just talk us through how it all went.
It went well for like 45 minutes, I think. I was pretty comfortable, just kind of managing the gap with Aiden, just trying to like not make mistakes, essentially give him any kind of run, which obviously that happened after the pit stop where the driver had a run at the chicane, and I just kind of ran him out of road on the left side, and it's just an unfortunate kind of error, just a judgment thing. So yeah, I think 10 was harsh, personally, but it doesn't matter really. At the end of the day, the stewards decide. It's equal for everybody, I guess. But then after that, he kind of held up Aiden and Jardier a lot, so it kind of worked out a little bit in a way. I just wish I hadn't have had contact, really. But moral victory, I take it. Aiden and Jardier congratulating someone on the pace is enough, really.
Yeah,
so nice.
They are two very fast boys. So any sort of compliments, and and on the road, you did beat them to the line. So that is one thing to take away from it. Obviously, if there wasn't a penalty, it would have been a pole position. Martin, have you got any questions for Michael?
Yeah, for sure, and I have. So, as we saw in the, I think it was also in the qualification, but let's say before the pits and before also that incident. So all the first three places were be taken off the Aston, and that was the, let's say, the underbobbed car in this track. So yeah, what you can say about driving the Aston in this car? So was it the best car that's right now with this BOP that is the best car in this track, or you are just the best three drivers in today?
It's a tricky one because it's clearly got such a low ballast, because it's really bad in the first chicane. Like, it is terrible. We have to take a different line to actually stay safe, and naturally that will lose us. It's 2 to 3 tenths. Realistically, I done the practice race. I was behind, had a Mustang behind, and every chicane he caught me by 3 tenths if he hit his right. So yeah, it clearly has a lot of power through the rest of the track. It feels really, really good. It has a great exit speeds, great mid-corner speed. Just feels very solid, but the chicanes is where it loses everything. So I think that's why maybe the bob isn't as heavy. But I'm not going to go and set any laps and bob it. So we'll let other people enjoy it for a bit.
I think great. Maybe what's there's something let's say more comment from you, or so what's the expectations from the next race for you?
I mean, well, I had P2 at Donington in mixed conditions behind Aiden. P1/P3 here. So, I'm quite confident I can keep up with Jardier and Aiden. If I just kind of hit hit my potential. Really, it's just kind of that's the thing with Jardy and Aiden. They're just so consistent every week, every lap. They just rarely make mistakes. So if you make one mistake, they are there. So it's just about being really super consistent as well as fast. But I've gained a bit of confidence now, having done that from pole position. Didn't kind of get flustered. Just kind of drove how I knew how to drive. So yeah, just try and take the fight to them too, and get in the mix for their championship battle for the last few races.
Yeah, but if you could choose, either it's dry or it's wet.
Wet. Yeah. The Aston is just superb in the wet and mixed conditions, so it's it's great, and there is an advantage for me. I feel more comfortable as well. I usually struggle to optimize an optimum track, ironically. So yeah, when it's wet, it's more comfortable because there's more mistakes that can be made by other drivers.
That's a fair thing to say. I think I've always preferred a bit of wet racing. It does tend to be the sort of the great leveler, doesn't it? Where sort of some of the really fast boys end up somehow being a little bit slower because they can't just nail that perfect lap over and over. They've got to think on their feet a little bit, and you're fighting with spray and things like that. I always like a wet race. My only pole finish ever was a wet Bathurst, and I will always celebrate that. In the old Audi of all things, that was the last time I had a pole position, which shows probably why I'm sat in here in the comms box as opposed to in the racing, because I pretty much hung up my wheel at this point.
Yeah, you can retire after that. You can retire after a wet race at Audi at Bathurst.
Yeah. I was pretty pleased with that one. Michael, it's been absolutely amazing chatting with you again. We're going to call it a night just because it's getting mighty late into the evening now. So we'll call it a night. Obviously, looking forward to Misano next week. It's another 60-minute race, so it should be absolutely fantastic stuff. And a nice sort of a case of 2 30-minute sprints or something in between. But yeah, thank you ever so much for joining us, Michael.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Well, that is the end of round 4. We've obviously got tier 2 tomorrow. It's a tier 2 Tuesday. I am on my own in the booth again for Tuesday because you are obviously racing, Martin. So you won't get a chance to be in the booth. Maybe at some point in the future when you realise that the comms booth is the best place to be. But here we are. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on board. A great addition to the comms booth. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and I hope everyone at home has enjoyed your input as well, because it's been a much needed refresher in the booth. I think it's been really good. Obviously, also want to give a shout out to all our patrons on our Patreon. If you want to decide, you think to yourself, I really like what I've watched here, and you want to get involved, jump onto the Patreon. The link is in the description below this stream, and it will be in the link in the description below the VOD as well when it goes up. But obviously, if you don't want to make any sort of monetary contribution, absolutely fine. But also, if you just want to get involved in the community, there's obviously the website, apexonline.racing. You can look there and see all the different platforms and games that we do racing on. All absolutely fantastic. The tier system in place across all of those as well. And you can get involved there, or there's the Discord as well if you just want to come in and have a good old chinwag with everyone. Really friendly group of people, always willing to sort of share advice and skills and the odd questionable meme. Martin, have you enjoyed yourself this evening, mate?
Yeah, for sure I am. So I missed. I played basketball for 15 years, and I missed Latvian national team game because it was in the same time as this stream started. So you can imagine how much I enjoyed it. So if I choose this one over the basketball,
I would say so. If you're choosing this over your home team, I mean, yeah, that's definitely a case of definitely made the right decision, I would say. So to everyone that is hopefully still here, or if not, thank you ever so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure for me and Martin again in the booth, and we will see you next week here on Monday for Tier 1 at Misano, and I'll see you tomorrow 7:30 for Tier 2 for another absolutely insane race at Zolder. I can only imagine what Tier 2 is going to be like. But so thank you ever so much, guys, and we will see you next week.
Thank you and see you.